Thank you for tuning in to the Reel Sisters ATL. I'm Allison.
I am Christina.
And yes, we are
Reel Sisters.
All right, y'all. We are so happy to be back after a
we
short
are.
hiatus.
Yes.
But super excited to get back down to business.
Absolutely.
We are coming up on spooky season,
Ooh,
Halloween,
yes.
October. This is one of my favorite times of year.
Yes, I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited about the month of October.
We cannot wait to bring you some really, really good content.
Yes.
Next month, and we're going to be celebrating spooky season all the way up until Halloween.
Yes.
So we hope that you all will tune in and join us on the ride. Speaking of which, please subscribe, like, tag, and share these videos to everybody you know.
Yes.
We will be bringing more and more horror movie content your way. And without further ado, we will get into today's episode.
I'm excited.
So there's a signature line in this movie. I'm sure if y'all have seen it, y'all already know. And that is Tamara home?
Ooh.
All right.
Yes.
So we will be reviewing
The Strangers.
So this movie stars Scott Speedman, I believe, and Liv Tyler.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, they did an incredible job in this film.
They did. This movie had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish.
Absolutely,
oh my goodness.
Absolutely. So it's like this couple that are staying at, I believe the guy's like family's
it's like a family
home, a family home. But it's in this desolate, remote area.
I mean, in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely. And they encounter these three people that are masked killers that are like terrorizing them. So the movie starts where this couple, they're riding home and they both seem to be like in kind of like a somber mood, sad mood.
Yeah, everybody's really quiet in the car.
Right, the ride home is quiet. When they get home, their energy is kind of distant from one another. But ironically, the house is adorned with like rose petals and champagne.
I know, it was like real sexy. I was like, okay, they about to get their little romance on.
Right, so they're being like super short with each other. And as the movie goes along, we basically find out that apparently there was like a proposal that was turned down. Because like the guy had the ring and you know
she was like, oh look, I'm not having it, I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. And he had already had the house, you know, set up because I mean, who proposes and expects somebody to say no? Come on.
Right.
After they get to the house, he, you know, says he's going to leave or go make a run or something. So I think the girlfriend, like, you know, takes a bath, just gets herself situated and tries to move past, you know, the negative happening earlier in the evening.
Yeah, because, you know, she's still kind of feeling some type of way, but, you know, she's just trying to make sure that he's okay and that, you know, they're in a good space despite her, you know, declining this proposal. So she's there at the house and, you know, she's just sitting there in the kitchen and she's drinking her water or whatever she was drinking. You know, I mean, you know, we like champagne, but so she's drinking her drink or whatever the case may be. And then out of nowhere, as she turns her back, it is this mass killer in the house watching her. I was like, oh my goodness, like, where did the killer come from? How did he get in the house? Like, she didn't hear anything. Like, what is going on? So I love like that panoramic view because it kind of showed like her, but then, you know, when she turned around, then the killer was gone. Love that scene.
Right. And if we backtrack, when her and the fiance, or supposed to be fiance, were at the house, there was a knock at the door and there was a woman, there was no light on in the porch. And the woman was like, is Tamara home? And, you know,
I would have been like, does it look like she here?
Yeah,
like, do you see a Tamara?
You have the wrong, you know, you have the wrong house. And she's like, are you sure?
And if somebody, what would you have done if somebody come to your house saying, can they, you know, reach someone and then they ask you, are you sure? Like, what would you guys would have done?
Y'all chime
like,
in below,
please.
because if it was me, we would have had some problems.
Right. I would have opened that door and be like, look, this is not the time or the place, sis.
Right. And even after the boyfriend left the house, I believe the girl came back like a second time.
Yeah.
And knocked on the door asking, was Tamara home? And she's
Again.
like, you already came here. And, you know, so she's walking around frantic.
Yeah.
Before the mass killer walks in, and I didn't hear a door open or shut.
Not at all.
At this point, I am like baffled and terrified as to how he got in the house.
Well, they have, you know, this view, of course, of her standing there, the killer standing there. She, you know, initially doesn't know what's going on until she hears the door close.
Yeah.
So, of course, ultimately, she is like, okay, is James, because that was his name, is he back?
Or is it somebody else? Because, you know, they're already terrified with this, you know, person coming to their house twice asking, like, okay, who's there?
Absolutely.
You know, and then I believe what really, like, shocked me was the alarm that she knocked down because it was going off. It was on the floor, and then she walks back past that chair, and the alarm was in the chair.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all chime in below and let us know what was going through your head.
Like, if you put something somewhere and then you go back and it's completely gone and you know it's just you there.
Or it's in a different spot, but within eye shot view, like, okay.
No, ma'am.
Something is going on.
I'm like, okay, you know
Something's
what?
up.
Come on out. Come on. Whoever is in here, come on out right now. Let's square up. Let's get it out the way.
Right.
So then it kind of transitions. Of course, she's nervous.
Right.
So then she hears kind of this noise, like as if someone has like a knife or axe or something kind of like outside of the house.
Right.
Of course, she's trying to figure out, okay, what is going on? So she gets her knife and she proceeds to go close to the window to look. Because she want to see, okay, you know what? Is it just me? I know somebody in here, but I can't put my finger on it. So let me go to the door and see what's going on, or go to the window, shall I say. She go to the window, and then here you have that same mass killer who was in the house. He's standing outside of the door.
Front and center.
I was like,
so she's screaming her head off, terrified, and then she goes toward, I believe, the front door.
Yes.
It opens out of nowhere, and
By
I'm thinking,
itself.
okay, maybe the boyfriend is coming back. She opens that door, and it was the other masked girl who was asking for Tamara in the first place. And they're just beating and banging.
Yes, they are like bamming, like just
all of this
yes.
noise.
I'm like, oh my goodness. I would have been scared of my mind, especially.
I would have lost it.
Yeah, she there by herself. You know, she don't know when James coming back.
Right. He could have went to the other side of town.
Right, he could have went to go see somebody else, considering that she declined a proposal. But you know, who am I?
Moving along.
So then we transition. Of course, James finally gets back. And he realizes what is going on. You know, he comes in the house and she's in a panic mode. Yeah. She's like, someone's in the house, or someone has been in the house. And he's telling her, oh, no one's in the house. No one has taken your phone. I'm like, sir, wake up. If she's telling you someone is in the house, you clearly are looking outside and you're seeing someone standing there.
Right. Yeah. And then he comes out to find his car demolished. Yeah. The windshield was broken.
I mean, it was
like the tires
a mess.
Slashed.
Yes.
It was awful.
It was crazy. So during that time, like, he gets in the car to kind of see if he can potentially leave, because they realizing all of this stuff going on, they want to escape. They in the middle of nowhere. Like, they know, okay, you know what? It's either fight or flight.
Yeah, our phones are missing.
Yeah.
The girl's phone was missing. So, yeah, it's getting really eerie.
And then that part that really just stood out to me was when he was in the car, and then you had the girl in the back seat, and she's caressing his neck as he's trying to figure out whether the car is working or not. I was like,
and
oh my
then,
goodness.
like, he's, you know, in a panic and gets out of the car and sees her standing in the middle of the street.
Yes.
So they run back in, or he runs back in to get the girl, like, okay, we really need to go.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
So they get in the car. They're backing out, and out of nowhere,
here comes this truck, ready.
Yeah, the pickup truck comes up, lights glaring in one of those old Western style showdowns. revving of the engine, ready and slam smack dab into them.
Oh
They're
my!
like,
I was like,
you're not going anywhere.
I'm like, dang! I just was hoping that some kind of way they can reverse a certain way to like get around the truck. I'd be like, okay, you know what? Get out the truck. Let's go. Because at this point, y'all are playing with me. Y'all done came to the house. Y'all knocking on these doors. Y'all got up making
Just
all these, just
harassing
taunting
us.
and harassing them.
Right.
So of course they run back in the house. They go look for,
Weapons,
a gun.
shotgun.
Which is something, in my
anything.
opinion, they should have looked for.
That should have been
before
like
they left.
the
Like
knee-jerk reaction when they were, bamming on the door. I'm like, listen, let's just get some protection.
Just in case. So, of course, they're fumbling around, trying to find the gun. And then I think the scene that was most funny to me, when they finally found the gun as well as the bullets, she's hyping him up like, yeah, I know you remember you told me when you were a kid, like, you know how to shoot, like you were shooting. And he basically was like, I kind of lie. I'm like, oh,
the look of
man.
defeat in her face was like, you told me you used to go hunting.
I'm like, the things that people lie about to go impress someone.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Yes.
That's a whole nother episode.
That is a whole nother episode. Chime in below and let us know what someone has said to you that make you believe to make you want them. Please let us know.
That you later found out to not be true.
Oh my goodness. So then, of course, they're in this room and they're like, okay, you know what? If this killer come back in the house, we'll be ready for them.
Right.
And then they're in the room and then, of course, it gets to the point where the friend, guy James, his friend comes to the house.
Right, because if y'all remember it back in the beginning of the video, I believe after they had their falling out, he asked the friend to come and pick him up.
Oh my goodness.
And the friend shows up after this whole melee has kind of taken place, and he's walking into the house in disarray after he got a brick thrown through his windshield.
Yeah, and that was
from
like
out of nowhere.
I had so many questions during that scene. When the brick gets thrown in his car, your initial reaction is, of course, to go run into the house. And then when you get into the house, you're walking super slow. Right. You're not announcing yourself.
Quiet as a mouse.
You hear just music going.
Yeah.
And then he didn't turn around not one time. And at this point, the killer is walking behind, one of the killers, shall I say, is walking behind him super slow.
Right. I mean, because he's like, listen, if anybody's going to get the axe or get killed, it might as well be you. I'm going to walk behind.
In the moment that he had his car, where the brick was thrown to, like, why you didn't go and pick up nothing? Like, you didn't have nothing in your car.
Call the police.
Something. So it just kind of gets really sad because, of course, they're in the room trying to be prepared just in case the killers come where they are. And they end up shooting the friend. Yeah. Thinking that was the killer.
Blew the friend away.
Yeah. And it just kind of did like a simple like standstill because he was like, oh my goodness, like this person that I just shot did not have a mask on.
Right.
So that's when it was just like, oh my goodness. And then they find out that it was a friend. So of course, right now they're like, okay, we got to do something about
to get out of here.
We got to get out of here. We gotta fight our way out of here.
It was like this complete game of survival where
they're
kind of going back and forth between the house and like the backyard and the shed.
And like the barnyard. It was like this barnyard area. And it got to the point where he was able to run to the barnyard, but then, he came back and then she was able to run. And then at one point she got a hold to a radio to potentially call for help. And then here go the girl.
One of the third killer or one of
she's standing on the side of her like, look, no sis.
Don't even think about it.
So it gets to the point where they're back in the house. The couple is back in the house and all of the killers come in the house. Right. Yeah, because they're like, okay, you know what, at this point, hey, we exist. You know that it's three of us. we're gonna show, and they still technically didn't show their faces. I thought that was so weird. I thought at one point maybe they would show their faces. So they feel very defeated. They're very defeated, you know?
Obviously, yeah.
So it gets to the point, and this was like, oh, I was so mad. You know, although this movie was so suspenseful, I got so mad because at this point, they've been running, they've been fighting, you know, they've been shooting. And I was so mad to kind of revert back. It was at one point in the movie where James was able to like give a really great shot. And I was just hoping that he was going to come out blasted.
After one of the mass killers like put the axe through the door, they were really trying to get in there and attack them, and after he shot that shotgun shell, they disappeared.
Right, they got on. They was like, "Look, okay, you know. Oh, so you trying to play like this? So no, let me leave. Let me go. Let me head out."
Yeah, exactly.
They did one of them "I'm head out" moves.
Exactly.
So we get to the end or close to the end, where you know they're sitting there, they're defeated. We have the 3 killers that are in front of them.
Right.
And they're like, okay, you know what? We are about to kill you guys. And I'm just like...
And she's like, why? And they're like, because you were home.
I'm like,
that was so eerie and creepy. I'm just like, oh my gosh, just the boldness with which they walked up in these people's houses. And we're like, oh, we're just going to kill you.
Because no reason, no motive. Like, you didn't talk to my cousin, uncle, sister, nobody. Like, you didn't, you know, kill my little bird, you know, 20 years ago, nothing.
I didn't beat you at prom queen in high school.
I would have thought
no vendettas.
Right.
No chip on their shoulder to carry out. It's just,
oh, you were home.
You're dead.
So... It was so sad. So you have this couple that is sitting there and they're just telling each other, I love you.
Pleading for their life because they realize this is it.
They like, this is it. So then you have the killers, they show them taking off their masks, but they never did show their faces. I wanted to see their face.
The camera pans away as they reveal their true identity. So I was really disappointed about that too.
Because I'm like, was it like a twist where the couple actually knew the people? Like, I wanted to know. I wanted maybe the ending to be different, but like, oh my goodness, it was, you know, Brian the whole time, or it was Susie the whole time, who lived down the street when I was a kid. That's what I was hoping. Right. Or that's what I was expecting, shall I say. So they take their knives and they go for James first, and they're stabbing him.
Oh my goodness.
And then they go and stab the girl, and they're just crying, and they're just looking at each other. I mean, if they had to die, you know, I'm glad it happened in that way.
Right.
But it didn't take
a silver lining to this movie.
But it didn't take away from the way that it happened.
Right.
So overall, you know, the movie was so good to me. It was just so sad in the end, because I was hoping by some miracle that they would be able to escape, or you know, somebody get a gun and it just start blasting all of them.
Right. And I mean, like even that final scene where these 2 little boys are riding a bike down the street, and they appear to have like these biblical brochures. And when they stop, like the killers get in the truck and go on about their way like, you know, it's a regular day. And one of the killers stops and gets out, and he's like, are you a sinner? And she's like, sometimes.
I'm like,
and he gets her like, you just killed 2 people. Girl.
Yeah, with no problem. And y'all get in the car like y'all going on a road trip. So what?
Right. And they ultimately discover the 2 little boys ultimately discover the couple in the house. The house is in a disarray. And I believe the girl like screamed or like something when they got there. So I don't know if she
was still
died.
Yeah, she was still alive.
There were so many questions after this movie.
It was.
Oh my goodness.
It did not take away from it being so suspenseful.
I mean, incredible movie.
It was. It really was.
So y'all chime in below and let us know what was your favorite scene. Let us know if you want us to do The Strangers too in
Yes.
a future episode, because we can definitely dive into that one.
Can.
And again, do not forget to like, subscribe, share, tag everybody
please.
you know. Let them know that we are going to be coming with so much more horror content.
So much more.
We cannot wait to bring it your way. And we thank you for tuning in to the Reel Sisters ATL. And yes, we are
Reel Sisters.